So right across the bay. And just welcome you to showing up to learn something new. Not only is this a money saver, but it's great for your digestion. And we know with digestion, it directly connects to brain health, mental health, overall health, immune health, like all the healths. So this is a really great tool for you to learn, especially if you do like ginger beers and ginger sodas or anything. You're going to really reduce a lot of that, the negative intake of those things, and replace it for something I think that's just equally as good. And it's so simple to make. And so my challenge for you today is to either make it along with us, give us feedback afterwards, or make it afterwards, give us feedback. We like to hear how everybody's enjoying it, and then share it with somebody, because ginger everything is everywhere right now. Like ginger beer, there's like a million different ginger beers and ginger sodas. So share it with somebody, and let's keep passing this knowledge down. And we're happy to have Megan back. She will also be back, and we'll talk more about that later in December. November, right before the craziness of December. That's going to be a great class too. We'll talk more about that after, but right now let's just get started in our kitchens. I'm going to pass it to you, Megan.
Thanks, Mel. Yes, so happy to be here. My name is Megan Nip. I'm a holistic nutritionist, and yes, I am based out of Oakland, California, but I see clients all over the Bay, all over the country. And I love hosting these cooking workshops with Banyan because, like Mel said, ginger bug specifically, it's such an easy thing to master. And once you do it, you're going to be a master of it. So in first try, I promise. It's very simple. So we're going to run through how to make a ginger bug. So how to start a ginger bug. And then I'm going to show you how to turn that ginger bug into sodas. So there's many different versions of different kinds of sodas that you can make with your ginger bug. I'm going to show you one herbal preparation, but that can be manipulated any way you want it. So, and I'll be going over that more when we get to that part. So yeah, let's get going. I'm curious if you all are, I think we have a couple people making their bug, and then a couple people just watching, all good. Sit back with a cup of tea. I have my cup of tea. So let's get started. So first I want to talk a little bit about what a ginger bug is. So a ginger bug, and let me grab it. I have it right behind me. So welcome to my kitchen. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my little kitchen. My favorite place to be ever. If you're quiet, you can hear the ginger bug hissing. It was just hissing. We'll see. No, it stopped. It got shy. It's all good. Okay, so these are ginger bugs. And when your ginger bug is all set and ready, it's gonna look like this, okay? So this is what we're making today. So this ginger bug is a week old. It's about a week and a day. And as you can see, it's pretty cloudy, which is a good thing. And all of this sediment, all of this yeast byproduct has settled to the bottom. And this is what it's going to look like when it's ready. So what a ginger bug is it's water, sugar, ginger, and we're going to put all these things together. And then there's a fermentation process that happens called lactofermentation. This is an anaerobic process, so it's without oxygen. And the natural yeasts from the air and from the skin of the ginger root, and the bacteria, they work together and they ferment and they feed on the sugar, and it creates this effervescence, this bubbliness, and it also leaves lactobacilli. So lactobacilli they are good bacteria, and other lacto-fermented products you might know about, like sauerkraut, yogurt, and these are fermented foods that, as Mel mentioned, are great for digestion. They're great for gut health. So in our gut, in our microbiome, we have a mix of bacteria. billions of bacteria. We have the good and the bad. And we want to balance out the good. So we want to feed our digestion good bacteria. Lactobacilli is one of those good bacteria. And probiotics is what we call them. So these probiotics, these good bacteria, they support our immune function. They support healthy digestion. They support our mental health. There's so many functions, our metabolic health, so many functions that are related to a healthy microbiome. So making a ginger bug is such a great way to support all of these processes. And again, it's so easy to do at home. So we're going to get started. You want to gather your supplies if you haven't already. So we have the recipe was sent out via email beforehand. And I think it can also be attached to the chat. Is that correct, Mel? Am I right about that? Yes. So it's also attached to the chat. So if you want to pull it up, you can. But it's so simple. You could also just follow along with me if you don't feel like pulling any paperwork up. So
I just added it to the chat again. So I just added it right now to the chat.
Thanks, Mel. Awesome. Okay. So step one in making the ginger bug again is you want to gather up all your equipment that you need. So you need a pot. So I have over here, I have my pot, and you need a pint-sized glass jar, sterilized, clean. A quick way to, if it's not clean and you want to have some extra protection on how to just make sure you're going to sterilize your jar, a really easy way to do it is either submerge it in boiling water for 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes, or you can just clean it and put it in the oven at around 180 to 200 degrees for about 10 to 15 minutes. And that should be enough to sterilize it if you just want that extra protection. Now, if this step was something, if you don't have a sterile jar right now, that's okay. You can either do it now and just, we can kind of move along and you can make your ginger bug as we go, or you can just get going with a clean jar. Okay, so either way is fine. All right, so I have my jar here, my 2-pint jar. You can also use these flip jars, are really nice for making ginger bugs as well. So you can use either one, is great. Here, you're going to hear the fizzle. I'm going to show you. This is why I like the flip jar, because you get the drama of the pop. You hear that? You can hear it fizzing. Anyway, you might not be able to hear it. I don't know. Okay, so get your glass jar and then a lid that fits. Okay. Unlike other fermentations that just require like kombucha or like sauerkraut, sometimes you need a special lid or just cheesecloth. When you're making a ginger bug, you really want a sealed lid. It helps the yeast activate and come alive. You want it to be sealed. And then you want, so that's really all we need. And then we just need our roots. So your ginger, okay? The ginger that I like to use for a ginger bug is going to be organic. The reason why is that if you're buying non-organic, sometimes those are treated with different chemicals and it might impact the natural yeast. So try to buy organic if you have access. If you don't, that's fine. It'll still work, but I like to choose organic when it's available. You want to get a nice healthy piece of ginger. So try and find one that's not moldy, that's not showing signs of decay, that's pretty fresh. So I think it was, trying to find Vivian, who asked about the amount of ginger. So this recipe calls for about, I think it's one, let me double check. It's about a quarter cup to 1 ounce. So 1 ounce of fresh ginger, okay? You really don't have to measure. I put the recipe in there because it's nice to know, like if you are someone who's super like meticulous with your measuring, but this is about 1 ounce. So this is about a 2 to 3 inch knob of ginger, and this will do to start your bug, okay? So this is all you need. So a 2 to 3 inch knob of fresh ginger, no mold. You want to wash it, okay? Just give it a rinse, make sure any dirt or anything's off, get in the little nooks and crannies, okay? And this is it. We're not going to peel it. We're just going to chop it. You want the skins. You want the skins. The skins is where all of that natural yeast lives and all of those, that good bacteria. So you want the skin on, okay? And then the next thing you need is sugar. So there are a lot of different people out there who are going to tell you that you can use, you know, different kinds of sugar like coconut sugar, maple, honey. I have tried with maple syrup. I have tried with honey, but I get the best results when I use cane sugar, okay? So when you're using cane sugar, when to start your bug, this is food for the bug, okay? So it really does need the amount of sugar. So if you're conscious and mindful about your sugar consumption, this is the time to maybe set that aside and really go with what the recipe calls for, because this is feeding the bug. This isn't feeding you. All that good bacteria is going to eat the sugar as its food and then release the good probiotics, that lactobacilli, as a residual effect. So that's the byproduct, okay? So if you want to have probiotics, you want to feed your bug sugar. So I like to buy organic cane sugar. You can just use regular cane sugar. I've seen some sugars will have like added like non-binders, like non-caking agents. So try to find one that's just sugar. Just read the label and just make sure ingredients, it's just sugar, just a step it might influence your bug. So that's all you need. So and water. So the next thing you need is filtered water. You want to make sure you're using non-chlorinated water. And that can sometimes be in tap water. So you just want to make sure that you're using a water filter. This will work fine. You're pure. Any water filter is typically getting out chlorine, but you can check. If you only have access to tap water, that's fine. I've made ginger bugs with tap water and they also have worked fine. But again, the healthiest ginger bug that I've made is with filtered water, organic ginger, and cane sugar. So that's kind of my magic combination. But again, do you try it out? Everything's an experiment in this life, so you never know. Okay, cool. Now we're gonna make our bug. Everyone ready? Cool. Okay, so the first step in making your ginger bug, once you have all your ingredients, is to you want to warm water. So it's 2 cups of water, filtered water in a saucepan. Okay. And you want to put in 2 teaspoons of cane sugar. Okay. So you can measure out your sugar, put it in the water, bring it to a low boil, turn it off, let the sugar dissolve. Okay. And you want to then cool the sugar water to room temperature. So I know that this is going to take some time, probably about 20 minutes to bring it to room temperature. But in the meantime, while we wait to do that, we're going to cut up our ginger and I'll demo you how to make the herbal soda. And then we'll come back and put the ginger in the water and do it all together. Okay, cool. So right now, this step, you should be heating up your water over the stove, 2 cups of water with, the recipe is 2 teaspoons of sugar. Okay. And I'm going to check in the chat and see if anyone has any questions about anything so far.
Do we stir the sugar?
Vivian, I missed that. What was it?
Oh, do we have to stir the sugar or just leave it?
I would stir it. Yeah, I would give it a good stir so the sugar dissolves in the water. That's a good question. Just so it dissolves. It shouldn't take too long because it's just 2 teaspoons. Yeah. Any other questions while I'm front and center? Okay, cool. Nice. You guys, we're halfway there. Okay. Now, okay. So while that water and the sugar is dissolving, I like to heat up the water. I like to do that step, bring the water to a boil just to kill anything off, and to really make sure the sugar is dissolved. And then while we're waiting for that, we're gonna cut our ginger, okay? So again, the recipe calls for about 1 ounce of ginger. Again, it's about a 2 to 3 inch knob, give or take. You don't have to be precise about this. Nature will do the work, okay? But again, give it a rinse, wash it off for any dirt, cut off any moldy parts. That is so crucial, okay? If you're buying a lot of ginger, because you will have to buy at least, 2 to 3 ounces of ginger, making sure, yeah, 2 to 3 ounces of ginger to feed the bug. So you're probably going to get like a big knob that looks like a hand at the grocery store if you are, making your bug. When you're storing it, store your ginger in the fridge, always, okay? Ginger can be left out, it's fine, it's a root, it's going to do okay. But if you want to have it last longer, store your ginger in the refrigerator with all your other produce and vegetables, and it'll stay fresher and crisper for longer, okay? What I love about ginger is, Mel is right, ginger is having a moment as it should. I think ginger is just perpetually going to have moments in time because it is such an accessible herb and root, and it's so easy and it's tolerated by so many. Very rarely have I met anyone who's like, no, I can't do ginger. So it's super versatile. You will see it in curries, in soups and stews, in ginger tea, in chai spice. Ginger is a part of that pumpkin spice. So it's so great. It has this nice spiciness, this nice bite to it. And ginger can really help our digestion. So if you're feeling like you have knots in your stomach, or you're feeling bloated, or any abdominal discomfort or nausea, ginger is a really great herb. It's kind of a catch-all. So I always have ginger in my fridge, always, always. Every time I go to the store, I always pick up another can of ginger. So it's definitely a staple right now. So we're just gonna cut it up. Again, get a 2 to 3 inch knob. Does anyone have any questions so far? I'm gonna keep checking in because I'm mindful of the chat. Okay, cool. All right, so you're gonna see a lot of different recipes out there about how to make a ginger bug. When I first started, it was recommended to me to shave the ginger bug, or to shave the ginger. You do not have to do that. You can just do like a rough chop. This isn't about again, nature will do the work. You want to leave the skin on, don't peel your ginger. It'll work against you. So just give it a rough chop. Again, I'll show you what my chop looks like. I'll bring it up. But I usually just slice it about 2-3 millimeters. And that's really all you need. When you're cutting, I'm going to move this out of the way. Be really careful of your fingers, okay? So when we cut, especially if we're cutting something rooty that's a little bit more solid, you want to tuck your hand, make a claw so your knuckles would hit the knife. You want to tuck your fingers under, okay, when you cut. And you can go slow. You don't have to go fast. Just cut it up. And then I just go back and do a rough chop. They can be uneven. They can look messy. They can look a little funky. Doesn't matter. Okay, I'm going to show you what it looks like. So just a rough chop. That's it. This is going to be the starter. Cool. So at this point, your pot should be on the stove, resting, heat turned off. It should be coming down to room temperature. You can pull it off the stove if you want to have it go down that faster, change containers so it comes down to room temp faster. You can put it in the fridge if you want to speed up the process, all good. And the ginger should be cut. So I'm going to pause here because another cool thing about ginger bugs is you can also make turmeric bugs. So I've done that before. Turmeric is different than ginger, but they are cousins. So turmeric is same concept. So the ginger acts as the vessel that holds the yeast that's going to turn out that good bacteria. The turmeric acts in the same way. So you could make a ginger bug, you can make a turmeric bug, you can make a ginger turmeric bug, which would be pretty cool. The one thing about turmeric is that it's pretty bitter, and it's sometimes an acquired taste if you're just having it, as like an enjoyable beverage. I personally love it, but some people it is like an acquired taste. So you can balance that out with something sweet, like you add a little bit more sweetness, and I'll show you like as you turn the ginger bug into a ginger soda. Like if you're making a turmeric soda, at the end you can add some lemon, you could add a little bit more sugar, a little honey, and make it a little bit more palatable. But just know turmeric is awesome too. Yeah, pretty cool. So if you don't have any ginger, but you have enough turmeric, you can still make it. All right. Cool. So what I'm gonna do is, if you have your vessel, if you have your glass jar, your clean jar, we're gonna take the 1 ounce of chopped ginger, skin on, and put it in the bottom, and just set that aside. And when your sugar water is cooled, we will pour the sugar water into this and seal it, and you have your ginger bug. Okay. So once your ginger bug is ready to go and sealed, I'm going to set this aside, and I will remind you that we'll come back to this, I promise. Again, it's going to turn into this. So every day, you now have a pet ginger bug. So every day you have to feed your pet, because this is now turning into a living thing. And so every day, if you can, around the same time of day, like I feed my bug at night before I go to bed. It's kind of like a part of my little bedtime ritual, which is really nice. You can make it a part of your routine. It can be really calming. People like plants. This could be similar. Feed your ferments. You got to feed your bug every day for the next 3 to 7 days. Okay. The reason I'm giving a range is because depending on the time of year, depending on the temperature, depending on nature, because nature is variable, your bug may be ready anytime during that time. But I rule of thumb, no, like minimum, like 3 to 4 days until it's ready to use. And you'll know, here are the signs. I'm going to show you the signs. So again, this is a ginger bug after about 3 days. So it's not as cloudy, there's not as much residue, and it's somewhat effervescent. Like you get somewhat of a pop and bubbles, like bubbles are forming, as you can see. There's those bubbles at the top, and as you can see, there's some sediment at the bottom. Okay, that's the byproduct. When the yeast eats the sugar, that's that byproduct that happens. Totally normal. It's not wrong. Okay, it's totally normal for that to happen, and it will happen. It's a good thing. It means it's working. What I do is kind of like shake it up every day. I give it a little twirl to swirl up that yeast to get it activated. Okay, because that yeast settles to the bottom. Swirl it. Okay, and then when you feed it, we're gonna pop it open. And I'm going to feed mine now, even though it's noon and not nighttime. I think it can handle it, but I want to show you how I feed it. And we're just going to grab your sugar. Okay. Grab a spoon. Okay. I use between a teaspoon to a tablespoon of sugar to feed it. I know the recipe says a tablespoon. You can also just do a teaspoon. That's fine. So I just grab a spoon. So I grab a spoon, get some sugar, put it in, and then you're going to add about a tablespoon of ginger, the same clean, no mold, make sure it's fresh, it can be from the same knob every day. So I usually, you know, it has these nice little, like ginger usually has these nice little knuckles hanging off of it. I usually will just snap off a knuckle or two, depending. So you just get about like that much, like a little, like tablespoon size amount. And okay, now do you guys hear my ginger bug singing? Can you hear that? No, I hear it. It's making noises. It wants to be fed. Okay, so we're gonna cut it up again. Watch your fingers, tuck your knuckles. It's all you do. Give it a few slices. Remember, this is what contains all the good yeast. So we're just adding to it. Put it in. It's like you're feeding a little animal, because it is. It's living. That's it. And then I add a little bit of water, just a splash, just a scotch. Remember, filtered water, about a tablespoon, but again, just boop. Okay, cool. Take my spoon. If you have like if you had a piece of treated wood too, you can use that and just give it a little go. Make sure the sugar dissolves. Again, nature will do the work for you. Just fed your bug. And then put the cap back on and wait for the next day. Then you feed it again. When the bug is mature, what's the maintenance routine? Yes, good question. That's the next thing. So when the bug is mature, it's going to look like this. Okay. So this is way cloudier. As you can see, there's all of this white kind of yeast byproduct that's settled on the bottom. Again, totally normal. And when you open it up and when it's ready, super fizzy. Can you hear it? I don't know. I'm going to keep asking that until someone tells me, yes, I can hear it. So it's going to be cloudy. And when you smell it, it's going to smell like bready. It's going to smell like yogurt. Like mine has this really like creamy yogurt smell, which is a good thing. That's the lactobacillus. So it should smell like yogurty and like bready and yeasty. It should have that smell. So you're doing something right if it smells like this. What you want to look out for is any mold forming, any pink discoloration, anything that's showing signs of bad bacteria and mold growth. You're going to have to start over and do it again. That has never happened to me. If you follow the steps and you sterilize your jar, you wash your ginger, use fresh ginger, you should be good to go. Use clean utensils. Make sure you're using sterile spoons and utensils when you stir. Clean knife. It should be fine. Okay, you're gonna be good. And yeah, so you have this. So once you have this, you're finished. Your active ginger bug is now living and ready to be turned into. I wonder if you can see. Can you see the bubbles rising? It's super cloudy, which is a good thing, but you can see the bubbles at the top. Okay. We're going to use a 1/4 cup of this mixed with some sweetened liquid, and we're going to make soda. And I'm going to show you how to do it in a second. But when you have to answer your question, Katerina, when you have a finished bug after about 5 days, 4 to 5 days, sometimes it'll take a week or more if it's like you're doing this in the winter time and it's a little bit colder. You can leave it in your fridge and it'll last in there. And you can just feed it like once a week, sometimes once a month. Okay, it should come back to life. But when you pull it out of the fridge, if you're familiar with like a sourdough starter, you do want to feed it every day again until it starts to get active and bubbly and juicy. Okay, so if you're unsure, like if you open it up and you're not getting that effervescence, it's not ready. If you stir it and you're not getting that effervescence, it's not ready. So keep feeding it a couple days, sugar, extra ginger, a little bit of water, and it'll do its thing. And if you're thinking that it's dead and it's not coming back to life, then maybe just start over. Again, the beauty of ginger bugs is that they're pretty low maintenance and they're so kind of simple and easy to make and really don't take that much time that if you mess up, which happens. You make mistakes. I've messed up making them before. I've had ginger bugs not turn out. Just try it again. Try it again. It'll happen.
So
So
just to recap, so you're saying feed it and keep it at room temperature for 3 to 5, maybe 7 days. Feed it
yes. So
room
and
temperature, and
mhm,
then if you feel you've got all the fragrances and the fizzle, move it into the refrigerator. When you move it into the refrigerator, now you go into a once every 10 days
yeah,
feeding.
yeah.
But when you pull it out, do you need to let it sit and come back to life before you feed it? Or do you pull it out cold, feed it, and then put it right back?
You can pull it out and feed it and bring it back to life for a day or two. But if you're just if you're good distinction, thank you. This is written down in the notes, but if you guys can take notes too if you want on the paper and also listen to the replay for this. But what you want to do is, good question, Mel, is if you're just keeping your bug alive in the fridge but you don't want to use it to make soda, you just want to keep it, yeah, just pull it out of the fridge every week to 10 days, feed it a little bit of sugar, a little bit of ginger, a little water, put it back in the fridge. It's fine. If you're going to pull it out and you want to use it to start a soda, that's where I would give it a few days to kind of come back to life. So that's where you want to go back to the routine of pull it out of the fridge, feed it for about like 2 to 4 days. Again, depending on the time of year, this is so variable. And once it has that strong effervescence, you'll be ready to use it. There is a little bit of kind of
You ready
intuitive.
to use it? This is so when you've pulled it out to use it, you've used it, and now you're refeeding it, bringing it back to life. But you just said when you're ready to use it. So when you feed it and bring it back to life, what if you're not going to use it again right then?
That's
So
what I'm saying. So if you're not going to use it, you're just keeping it alive. Only feed it once a week to 10 days, and you can just put it back in the fridge. If you're pulling it out to use it to make soda, you want to bring it back to life and leave it out on your counter for 2 to 4 days
before using it.
before using it. Yes.
Okay, and
That
so then
makes
you
sense.
use it, and now you've got it out. Do you then feed it again a little bit before putting it back up into the refrigerator?
No, once you're done using it, you can put it back in the fridge and do the process all over again. Yeah. Yeah. So there is, like I said, some intuitiveness to this. Once you start doing it, there will be some troubleshooting that you will learn on your own. Because like I said, this is a living thing and there are steps to it to follow, but at the same time, temperatures vary, time of year, the seasonality of it varies. And because it is a living thing, there is some variation. So the more you do this, the more you ferment, the more second nature it will become, and you'll have an intuitive kind of nature to it. But if you follow these steps, you should get the hang of it. So, yes. All right.
You mentioned previously that do you feed them at night, or like you said, oh, they're okay today? Like, do you feed them at special times?
So I just get, like I said, it's nice to feed it at the same time just because it provides more regularity, but you don't have to, as long as it gets fed every day. Some days I've forgotten to feed it one day and then I'll come back in the morning and do it and it survives. It's not as temperamental as we might think, but you do want to get into a routine. I just like feeding it at night as part of my nighttime routine when I am doing a ginger bug. It just is part of this like time for bed, feed my baby, but you can feed it any time of day. Does that answer your question, Vivian?
Yeah. Also, like I might have missed it earlier because it's
Sure.
a lot. So what happens? What does it look like when it dies? Like, is it weird? Does it smell weird, or
No,
because
it's not weird. It's just you won't have continual effervescence. So one of the things when your ginger bug is growing is you'll notice every day it'll get a little bit more fizzy, a little bit more fizzy. The cloudiness will change. And when you can tell when it's dead, when it's lost its effervescence. So, and it might not smell yeasty, so everything's kind of like died off. Does that make sense?
It's helpful, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay, cool. Any more questions before I move on and show y'all how to turn this into soda? Okay. At this point, you can check to see if your sugar water in the pot has come down to room temp. If it's not, you can let it go a little bit longer, but whenever it comes down to room temp, you can take your 2 cups of sugar water and just fill up your clean jar with your ginger in it and seal it, and you have your ginger bug, okay? All right, we're gonna transition, and I'm gonna move this over to the table. All right, get this out of the way. Okie dokie. Get this out of the way. Salt. So what I'm doing now is we're going to take the ginger bug and we're going to mix it with some prepared tea, and we're going to make herbal soda. Super cool. Oh, so I sterilized my bottles. So I'm going to get them out of the oven. When you are making fermented sodas and fermented products, again, you want to make sure you're using sterile equipment. So you can wash it with soapy water. And then an easy way I like to do is just put in the oven on a baking sheet for like 15, 20 minutes at a low temp, like 180, 200, and that'll kill everything off, okay? And when you're ready, get your bottles ready. So when you're ready to make soda, you have a couple different options. I really love to use these glass flip top bottles. So where to purchase these? I got these from a place called Mud Lab. It's a reuse cafe in Oakland. They're great. But you can get these on the internet. There's also places in Oakland, if you're in the East Bay, or even you can order them online no matter where you are in the country, called Preserved. It's a shop in Oakland that's all about fermentation, and they sell stuff like this, like flip top bottles and other fermented products. They're a great resource. Preserved. And again, just online, you can get flip tops. Another thing you can do is you can buy like something at the grocery store that has a flip top bottle and save it, and then you can use it. So someone just gave me, I have a friend who knows I like to make sodas, and so she'll always give me, this is not a clean one, I need to clean it, still has a label on, but you can see what I'm talking about. So you also can just buy a beverage that's a flip top, like a kombucha. I know they have them at the grocery store. So I'm going to put the flip top back on, and hopefully I'm going to do this right. Okay. I'm not going to waste.
Wait, I have a question.
Sure.
I think because like my water was still a little warm, but it's supposed to be room temperature, right?
Mhm. You can wait. No need to rush the process. So the next step for you, Vivian, is when it comes down to room temperature, just pour about 2 cups to fill up your jar with the ginger in it, and just seal it, and that's your ginger bug. And then tomorrow you can start feeding it. Okay?
Okay.
Cool. Yeah. Awesome. All right. So what we have here, I'm going to get everything ready. Even sugar. All right. Here we go. Okay, so I'm making the soda, okay? So when you make your, when you want to turn your ginger bug into a fermented herbal soda, again, there are so many different options here. You can use any herbs you want that you think would taste good. If you have a favorite tea that you like to drink, you can turn that into a probiotic soda with the ginger bug. Now, note that it's gonna have ginger flavor because you're using a ginger bug, so we kind of want to go with something that might go well with ginger. So a lot of like fruit juices are fine. You just want to make sure that there's no fruit residual fruit like fiber or anything in. So use like clear fruit juice, like apple juice, any other juice that's just strained. You can also use like different teas, and I'll go through all of that. So what I did is when you're making the soda, you want to bring about 4 cups of water. So you want to gather what herbs you're using. For today, I chose to do a combination of more ginger because I love ginger. So I'm doing ginger, fennel, and cinnamon. So you want to have about, when you're thinking about how much herb to water ratio, so 4 cups water is always going to be the liquid amount for this recipe. So you can substitute that with fruit juice. You could do your herbal tea, but 4 cups of liquid, okay? So I'm going to do 4 cups of water mixed with herbs. I'm going to make an herbal infusion. So the herbs that I'm choosing, you want about, and I have this down in the recipe that's provided. Again, there is some leeway here, but about 2 to 5 tablespoons of dried herbs. And then if you're using fresh herbs, about 10 tablespoons. You can use a little less, a little more. Again, it's just about potency and flavor. So there is some leeway with what you're using. So again, I'm choosing ginger, cinnamon, and fennel. Other herbs that I really like, they're listed on the recipe, but chamomile, ginger makes a really great soda, and chamomile is really calming to the nervous system and digestion. So it can have that added probiotic support and the benefit of kind of calming your nervous system. So if you're someone who had like an anxious stomach, chamomile tea can be a really great way to kind of calm your nervous system and your digestion. So I often make chamomile soda as well, but not today. I'm doing something different. One thing that I've been needing in my life, and you might need something different, is I've been having more, I've been needing to settle my stomach with a class of herbs of what I call carminative herbs. And these are just herbs that are going to reduce bloat. So these are anything that's in a pumpkin spice. So cardamom, clove, fennel can be in there sometimes, allspice, ginger, or big friend ginger. Cinnamon can sometimes be, it's not technically fermented, but it can be calming. So that's why I'm doing fennel, ginger, and cinnamon. So I've actually never done this one before, but it felt like it would go together. And I'm smelling it now and it smells delicious. So I'm super excited. So have fun with it. Be creative. Go with what you like. You can start out with something simple. You can just start out by making a ginger tea and see with what you like. I always suggest that, like, if this is your first time doing this, but I think for a lot of you it might be, just go simple. You can just make ginger ale, like ginger, this isn't technically ginger ale, but ginger soda. And so either 2 to 5 ounces of dried ginger, like a ginger tea. You can even use a tea bag, or fresh ginger fruit cut up again, and you can start there, okay? So what you're gonna do is, and I've already done this for the sake of wanting to show you how to actually make it, but you want to heat up 4 cups of water, bring it to a boil, which is what I did. I put it in this jar. And love to make ginger ale. Yeah, start with ginger ale, super good. That was what the first thing I made, and I was like sold doing this all the time, and now look where we are. So you want to boil your water. You want to put your herbs in with the boiled water and let steep for 20 minutes. This one steeped for about an hour. You can do however long you want, but 20 minutes, I would say minimum. Remember, the longer you steep, the stronger it's going to be. So use your judgment. I don't like to steep longer than an hour because I think then it starts to get a little too medicinal in like a flavor profile way. Anyway, but you can go longer if you want. So this is my water steeped herbs, 4 cups of boiled water, my herbs, okay? And it's at room temperature. So what I'm gonna do now is we're gonna strain it, and I love using this. I have a dedicated French press that I just use for herbs. So if you have the means, I love having like a coffee French press and herbal French press, so you won't get that coffee flavor in your herbs. So this is what we're gonna do. I'm not actually using the French press, but I'm using just the jar because it has a spout and it's easy to control if you can actually pour. So I have my handy mesh strainer. If you have cheesecloth, you can use cheesecloth. You can use a bigger mesh strainer if you have it, but you just want to make sure that there aren't any lingering herb particles or food particles or fruit particles in your liquid. So you want to filter all of that out so it's just strained liquid. Okay. So it smells so good. Again, cinnamon. I did a stick of cinnamon with about like 4 tablespoons, like a 3-inch knob of ginger and like 2 tablespoons of fennel. It smells so good. It smells like fall. So I'm pouring this in, straining it out. Okay, cool. Set that over there. And then I'm gonna add the sugar because we're gonna add a little bit of sugar because remember, sugar is food for the probiotics. So if you want that effervescence, the probiotics will eat the sugar and then they'll create bubbles. So if you want soda, you gotta put sugar in. So this recipe calls for 1/2 cup of cane sugar. So I'm gonna measure 1/2 cup. This is 1/2 cup. Again, I like to use organic cane sugar. You can use coconut sugar. I've had some success with coconut sugar. Again, but I have the most success when I just go with regular old cane sugar. It's fine. All right, we're gonna do that. And we're going to stir it, excuse me. So the sugar is completely dissolved. This time it doesn't have to be totally perfect. They just want to stir it so it's dissolved. Smells so good. Waiting for the day we have sensory Zoom. Maybe in our lifetime, who knows? All right. Okay, done. And now don't forget this step because I have missed this step really unfortunately a couple times. And you got to add your ginger bug now. So you want to add 1/4 cup of your ginger bug. So we are going to do that. So get your, here. This again, this is your ginger bug. So when it's ready, again, I'm going to show you one more time. It's going to be cloudy. It's going to smell like yeasty and yogurty and really delicious, like a good bread. It's going to be cloudy, sediment, effervescence. It's just going to pop. You're going to know it's alive and ready to go. So we're going to use 1/4 cup of this. Okay. And what we're going to do is, I know this is a little awkward. Oh, I usually use this way. Here we go. This is why I had this out. Sometimes, you know. All right. Sorry, my kitchen just shook a little bit. Did we just get a little earthquake? Anyone? No? Is that just me? Weird. Okay. We're going to measure 1/4 cup of the ginger bug. Okay. About 1/4 cup, right? Yeah, do a little bit more. Okay, cool. Done. I'm going to show you what it looks like when it's strained. It looks nice and cloudy and white. Okay. We're going to mix that in. I'm adding that to the strained sugared tea. So if you were doing fruit juice, you would add your ginger bug to the 4 cups of fruit juice. If you were doing any other tea, this is where you would add your ginger bug. Okay. Give it another stir. All right. And then I've lined up my bottles here, and we're going to now pour this concoction, this ginger bug sugared tea flavored liquid, into our sterilized bottles. If you have a funnel, use it. It'll make your life so much easier and less messy. So I like to put my little funnel in, and then when you're filling up your bottles, this is so important, you guys. You want to leave some head. So you want to leave at least 2 inches, okay? It creates space and room for expansion because this is living, and as pressure is created from the effervescence from the probiotics feeding on the sugar and creating gas, it's going to create pressure. So you want to leave some room. So we're just going to fill it up. I cannot wait. And in 1 week, it's about, okay, cool. It's about where I'd like to do it.
So yes, you just had there was a little earthquake,
I did? In Oakland?
San Leandro.
Thanks, Mel. I was like, something's shaking. Something's happening right now. The earth is
A
moving.
small one, but I think it's aftershocks. There was a bigger one yesterday.
Okay. So funny when that happens. All right, I have a little bit of juice, so I'm just gonna kind of top this off. Nope, see? This is what happens. That's good. Cool. Okay, so this is what it looks like if you do 4 cups. You can do more. Remember, just double the recipe. You can do less, cut the recipe in half, but it's outlined for you, okay? So again, this is about 2-cup bottles, okay? And what we're gonna do is put the cap on. Again, I hope I do this right. This can be a little weird sometimes. Okay. Yeah, did I do the opposite? One day, this will get easier. And you want to put the top on. God, you guys, you're gonna watch me struggle through this. When I figure out how to get the top on, I'm going to show you how to do it. Once you have the top on, you want to let it sit for about 3 to 4 days. Room temperature, 65 to 75 degrees. Okay, so you can put it in your garage, you can put it in a cupboard. Some people, when they're making sodas, and I'll tell you why in a second, they'll put like an old cooler in their kitchen or in like a side area or wherever, somewhere that's, you know, cool, gonna stay at 65 to 75 degrees. And the reason why they do this is because living things, like living fermented foods that you have enclosed and capped, they expand, and that effervescence can lead them to pop. And so you don't want to have an accident. So there are a couple ways to avoid this. You don't want to have a mess. What I mean is they will explode and then pour and just go all over your kitchen, all over your floor. You can avoid that entirely. I've only had that happen to me once when I was just forgetful. You want to pop your ginger bug, your ginger beer, your soda. Okay, let's see if I can get this down. I think I got it. You want to pop it every day, okay? And what that's going to do is that's just going to release the pressure. And when I say pop, I'll show you what I mean by that in 1 second when I finally get this thing on. Oh my gosh, I'm struggle city right now. But I think you know what I mean. When it's popped, you unpop it, just pop it off, okay? That's all you got to do. You don't got to wait, and then you can just put it back on. So just release that pressure. In about 3 to 4 days, it'll be ready and it'll be set and you'll be good to go. All of this is listed in the directions. So step by step, where to store it, how many days. So allow soda to ferment in a warm place away from direct sunlight for about 2 to 4 days, depending again on how hot it is. If it's like an 85, 100 degree day in the summer, it's gonna ferment way faster. And that's where I would pop it maybe 1 to 2 times a day. If you're doing this in the winter time where it's maybe like a cool 65, like high 60s, low like 70s in your place, I would maybe like, we might only need to do it once a day, but just watch it, keep an eye on it. And when it's bubbly and ready, you can refrigerate it for 2 to 3 days so the bubbles set, and then you'll have soda and then you can drink it and it'll be delicious. So that's it. And I know we're at time. We have 1 minute, so I'm gonna.
And also, just a helpful tip is when you burp your bottles, burp them away from your face.
Thanks, Mel.
Always
Okay.
burp them to the side.
Yes. So when you're popping, pop out. Like think of it like you're popping a pop champagne bottle.
Yeah.
You never want to do it towards you. Want to do it away from you, and not towards anything expensive. And please remember to pop them. You really do got to do that every day. But yeah, have fun. I'm so excited. Does anyone have any questions?
I'd like to know where, what your choice of, I know all the places I go for herbs and stuff, but I'm looking at the root beer. I really want to make the root beer. I've never made root beer.
Thank
Where
you for
do
asking
you-
that. I was gonna tell you guys. So I love making the root beer. It's so fun. And I didn't show you guys how to do it today, but it's written out for you. So I think once you've made a successful like ginger, like you can like graduate to a root beer. The herbs to buy the root beer, you can get them online from like Mountain Rose Herbs in bulk quantity, but local to Bay Area, I think in the city, you probably could buy everything at Scarlet Sage or like Rainbow Grocery.
Yep.
If you're in East Bay, I would, my favorite too is 5 Flavor Herbs or Oaktown Spice Shop. Those two, they know me because I always go in for root beer spices. You can, and the thing with root beer is it's super adjustable. So if you make this recipe and you're like, I didn't like this one flavor, you can kind of play around with it, but it's just a fun one for fall. It's always fun to have a root beer. So yeah.
No, it sounds delicious. Wonderful. I cannot wait to, I made a double batch, so I should be good in a couple days. I'm gonna try this herbal soda first.
Yeah, Mel, what are people gonna try? I'm curious. Mel, what are you gonna try?
I really feel like cinnamon rose hibiscus is calling me.
The hibiscus version of this is incredible. I make that a lot over the summer. You guys, I did it. I got it. It took me 15 minutes. You can do it too. Yeah, I love the hibiscus, and even making like a strawberry soda can be good. And there's also a lot of recipes online, but you guys have the basics now, so you're ready to roll.
And then just to remind everyone, Megan, well, there'll also be a thank you email coming out with all of Megan's information, but on the bottom of the recipes that were sent out through Eventbrite, the access to that, all of her information is on there too. And when you make sodas and stuff, tag us on IG and share with us. We really love to see everybody creating and utilizing these tools. If you really enjoyed class, there's different ways that you can support us. Of course, donations are always welcome. We are a 501c3. We are a nonprofit. We run off of donations. The other way is to choose us as your nonprofit of choice on Amazon Smile. And once you do that, you don't have to ever do it again. It stays there, and different products you buy, it's pennies on the dollar that will get put into a fund, but all those pennies add up. And then of course, sharing our emails, sharing our events, talking about our practitioners, tagging your practitioners, tagging us, and just keeping us in people's minds and mouths so that you can come to class and experience stuff like this. And I want to say thank you again, Megan. And please make sure to look at the website. We have a lot of really great stuff happening for fall. We're taking care of you, mind, body, soul, spirit. And we look forward to seeing you in class again. Thank you, everyone. Have a beautiful Saturday.
Thank you.
Happy weekend. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.